I was like, this is really, really weird. Why does this continue to happen? So, after leaving Ridgecrest, after buying a house in Ridgecrest, after leaving California City, after leaving Lancaster, because I did not know what was happening to me. I thought it was some kind of a sex cult that was after me, some kind of demonic, satanic sex cult. But I didn't understand the money behind it. I was like, these people must be really, really rich. So I was just running. So from Lancaster, the townhouse, after the first incident of getting the eviction notice, that was the first instance of me feeling in my spirit like something's wrong. I've been here for years. I pay my rent. Like, what the heck? Like, he's not gonna just like talk to me. Like, he's just gonna kick me out. So anyway, that was perp related. And then from Lancaster, I moved to East Lancaster because I was planning on buying a house anyway. It was just not that soon. So I lived in a townhouse. It was really nice, but I lived in a townhouse. I still had my career. I was still working. And I lived there for a year and a half, just saving, researching, trying to understand the housing market, and looking at potential real estate brokers that I wanted to hire. So I did that, and I finally found a house in California City. I'd heard about California City, but I had never been there. So I started visiting. It was a small town. It's a very small desert town, kind of like the towns that you would see on TV in the movies. Like, it's kind of like that. It's just really small, quaint, maybe like 2 grocery stores, if that, like a grocery mart, and then a grocery store, one actual grocery store. I think it was Albertsons or something. But it worked for me because I've always wanted peace and quietness in my life. I don't like the big cities. I don't like the hustle and bustle. I'm an empath, so I feel the energy. It's just silly to me. People living in these big old cities and dealing with this foolishness. So I don't like it. I like being living in quiet cities, quiet towns. You can take care of your business and then go about your day. It don't take you 3 hours to get home on the freeway, on the 405. The 405, if anybody from LA is listening, that the 405. It's pure hell. It's like hell on a freeway. All day, every day. It don't matter what time. It's just I just can't stand it. So anyway, I left Ridgecrest because the same things were happening. The harassment, the people coming on my property, the weird noises, the clicks. The clicks has literally followed me everywhere. Everywhere I live, the clicks have followed me. And as we speak, I don't know if there's a drone. I don't see a drone, but I'm feeling a little something on my hip. It's not as bad as it used to because I'm getting the Reiki, and the Reiki is really, really, really stopping a lot of that, a lot of the directed energy. And I'm learning a lot more about the Reiki. But in Bakersfield now, I'm living in Airbnbs. They're sending a perp to live in the Airbnbs with me as long as I stay there because they have access to my phone. I'm still like, what the heck? Why is this happening to me? Like, why? And I live in Airbnbs probably for a good 6 months, and I spend a lot of my money that I sold my house from, unfortunately. But my plan was to, even though I had left my house in Ridgecrest, I still owned it. And so I was going to just rent it out, and go to Bakersfield, live in Bakersfield, because I really like Bakersfield. A lot of people don't like Bakersfield, but I love it. I loved it. is a really, 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 it's a big small town. The traffic was not horrible. I liked it a lot. So I'm up there. I'm living in Airbnbs. The perps are still following me around. All male perps. They were all male perps. No female perps that I had noticed at the time. Attempted to buy a townhouse in Bakersfield. What I was going to do is stay there for 6 months and fix it up really pretty. Not that much needed to be done to it. And then rent that one out. I mean, I had these big, grandiose dreams, and I still have them, and I'm still going to live out my dreams. You cannot let these people steal your dreams from you. You just cannot. You just have to stay prayed up and protect it and fight. And so that almost went through until I realized, okay, there's something weird is going on with this. It wasn't on my end, but it was on the end of the people that were selling the townhouse, whatever you want to call it. But somewhere in the paperwork, the loan paperwork, the government perps had looked up some type of a problem. And the type of loan that I had, that I was getting to purchase, because it wasn't a cash purchase, it was I was going to go through a loan company. They stated that the different townhomes cannot be owned by different people. It had to be, owned and controlled by one company. So we let that loan company go. We went through another loan company, and it followed. Like I was noticing a pattern. So we went through 3 loan companies, and they told us the same exact thing. So I'm like, this is weird. Like, so I knew something was wrong. I just couldn't pinpoint it, but I knew something was really, really strange. So I was like, I'm not dealing with this crap. Like, I was frustrated at the time. Anybody who buys a house knows that buying a house can be extremely frustrating, especially if it lags. I was like, listen, lady. She was a real nice lady. She just didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. But I was like, I have got to get settled. This is not working. I appreciate you. I really do appreciate you. But this is not working. So I have to move on. And we're going to take the back roads tonight. And so I just let it go. She wanted to keep trying until we found the right loan person. But I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done. After 3 tries, turning in paperwork, that stuff is like annoying. So I was like, no, I'll just wait. I'm done. I'm good. I'll just wait a while and then see about purchasing another property at another time. So that didn't work out. That was one of the first instances of the perps blocking me from success, basically becoming successful. Because like I said, I had a plan. And anybody in real estate, you can buy a house after about 2 years. You can take equity out on that house, buy another house. After about 2 years, take equity out on that house, buy another house, and you'll be a millionaire within 5, 6, 7 years. If you continue to do that, or close to it, yeah, you'll be doing good, basically. So that did not work out. I stayed in Bakersfield, and so I found another townhouse type of apartment to stay in. I did not realize that it was on a really busy street called Real Road in Bakersfield, REAL. I was delivering groceries. I was still making money. I was working for Walmart Sparks. I was doing Uber Eats at night because I realized that the people following me, I didn't know it was called gang stalking, but the people following me at night, it was a lot less. It was a lot less interaction. And all I knew is when they would follow me, I would feel tired when I got out of my car. I didn't know what directed energy was. I didn't know what any of that crap was. So I worked at night and I held on to my money as much as I could. But eventually I ran out of money. I could not stay at that place. That place was really, really bad. It was a small apartment building. The apartment was really nice. It was older, but it was nice and spacious. It had the upstairs. Like I said, it was like a townhouse. I had gotten to know one of my neighbors. I thought she was a nice person, but she was not. And her and her son started harassing me. And for me, it hits different when a black person is harassing me versus everybody else, because I am a black woman. I was around her age, so we had a lot in common, and it just hit different. Like, it made me even more angry. Like, I was like severely pissed off, really, really pissed off that she was participating in whatever this was. So, and like I said, the whole apartment building, my side, the other side, they were all participating. The kids were participating. They knew my name. I had never met them. I would take a shower and there would be a group of guys standing outside because there was cameras installed in the bathroom. My neighbors next to me, the boy, he was a teenager. He was a pervert. He had that in him. And every time I would go to the bathroom, he would be in the bathroom because they were connected. So it was like a really, really bad situation. Really bad. And I was like, the guy was really nice that had found it for me. And I told him what was happening. He was like trying to understand if it was really happening or not. You know, he wasn't gaslighting me. He just didn't know. I honestly feel like he just didn't know what was happening. They didn't involve him, thank goodness. But I told him, I have got to go. I cannot stay here. Please let me out of my lease. I cannot stay here. And so he did. He let me out of my lease without penalty, and I really, really appreciate that. Real nice fella. And after Railroad, during that time, there was a woman that came over to clean my house, and because I just did not like to clean. I worked a lot, and then I would run out of energy because of the directed energy weapons that I did not know was happening to me. I could just feel it. So I hired her from somewhere. And when I hired her, I did not know that she was like a really big wig. She was working for I think it was Home Depot, but she was a CEO or something of Home Depot. Not a CEO, but she was one of the supply and logistics supervisors. And she would go to different Home Depots in the western region, I think she said. If there's an issue, then she would go and she would fix it. And she would, rate the staff there. She would train them, and she would fire people, hire people. Whatever the Home Depot needed, she would take care of it. So she was kind of like a cleaner. She was a real nice lady. And she said that she liked cleaning houses because she had a lot of energy. But I kind of feel like, I'm not trying to be negative, but I kind of feel like maybe she had a drug problem. And so she needed a second job to keep her money flowing. From the times that I met her, and you have to understand, I've worked in the behavioral field for many, 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 many years, so I can tell like when people are having substance abuse issues. That's her business. It doesn't matter. She was very nice to me. So she was like, Teresa, you have the money. Like, you have the money in your savings account. So why don't you just move? And I was like, well, there's a place that I want to move to, but because of my employment, that's a problem. And she was like, oh, no, it's not a problem. Look, you have the money. You have a lot of money in your account. We've been talking. So I will just help you create your history, your rental history, to where you will qualify for the apartments. And they were kind of like luxury apartments on a much better side of town. So she helped me get in, and she would come over, and she was still clean, and I would pay her. She said a lot of the money was also going. She was a good person. She was like an angel that was sent to me, because she did say a lot of the money that she is making is going to a charity to help kids. I don't think she had kids. I remember that she didn't have kids, and so her and a group of her friends would give a large piece of their money to this charity that they had created. But I still think she had like a little bit of an issue, just from what I observed with drugs and drinking. So I will never forget her. Every now and then she pops up on my Facebook. She's still doing her thing. She's still doing really well. Kind of eccentric. She was kind of an eccentric white girl. She's just real different. She was not like a Trumpster or like a really conservative, like the type of white people that are in this area where I live. She was not like that. She was different. Like, she had a casket as her living room table. She was showing me pictures. She was just a really interesting person. Like, her whole living room was like goth. Like, she's a different breed, but she was very kind, and that's all that matters is if you put in the work and if you're a kind person. And she was, because she helped me out a lot. Her skills as a high-ranking supervisor with the company she worked for really helped me. She also helped me move. Her and her friend came up. She was just nice. Anyway, she was just real nice. She was an angel. I'm convinced she was an angel that was sent to me to help me. And so I got into the luxury apartments, and I loved it. It was gated. It was just, I absolutely loved it. But guess what? Guess what, you guys? The same shit started happening. The gang stalking. I opened my window, and then the neighbor would turn on his car alarm, and then like 2 minutes later, people are passing by my window, and I'm hearing pop, 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 pop. They're attacking me with a directed energy. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even open my windows anywhere I live because of this, what's going on. And so the harassment, they would stand outside, they would talk, and just gibberish, there was a lot of retired people there too. It was kind of like some of them were townhomes and some of them weren't, and it was a beautiful apartment building, and like I said, it was gated. It's really nice. Oh Lord Jesus. But things just kept happening, and over there is when I could really tell that the maintenance and those people were coming in and out of my apartment. I was by myself. It was just me and my dog. I had finally gotten my son, my foster son, out of the situation. So I had him placed because I was really scared. And I had him placed, and I didn't want him going through any of this because it wouldn't stop. And I didn't understand what was going on. So I placed him with an agency because I felt like he would be safer there. And so I was by myself, just me and my dog. Would come home after working all day doing the Uber Eats and Walmart Spark, and there would be just a fog in my house. And I was like, where is this coming from? Like, I would have to come home early morning because I've been out all night doing Uber Eats and all of that, and just, I could see the fog when I walked in, and I was like, my poor dog. So I would have to come in like opening doors and windows, and every time I would open the doors and the windows, everything that I had that had a battery in it would be drained within 10 minutes. Literally within 10 minutes. I had one of those electrical Google thermostats in the house. It would be drained. Just completely drained. To this day, I don't know what they were doing. I know that they were draining my batteries. I have a friend that still lives in Bakersfield, and she is also targeted, and she mentioned this the other day about her batteries being drained, because she lives in an apartment by herself now. And then when I would be out, I would see the same cars following me from the same company, just following me all freaking night. And when I would be running errands during the daytime, it would be even more cars from the same place, from the same company, following me, like 20, 25, they would be everywhere. Sometimes I would work in the daytime doing the Uber Eats in Walmart Spark, and my phone would be attacked. My phone would just go black. That's when I had like an Android. Still didn't understand what was happening. They took tons and tons and tons of orders away from me, to the point to where I wouldn't get an order. I would maybe get 3 orders, 8 or 9 hours that I'm out. Like literally, I would see an order pop up, and then it would disappear within like not even a second. It would disappear, and I knew that they were taking those orders away from me. Whoever it was taking the orders away from me. I just didn't understand how, but I knew that my phone was hacked. I've always known for years. So I would get another phone, go to T-Mobile, get another phone. I'd be out, and right before they're closed, my phone's not working. They're trying to fix it. They don't understand what's happening. I tell them this is happening. These people are doing this. They won't hear you unless it's happening to them. Targeting is so over their head. It's so like a movie, like something that you would see in a movie. People just don't understand. They just don't understand. The reason why you guys are not seeing that many cars, because usually I would have so many cars following me. Like I said, I'm being cleared from this, but I have my phone out, and that's possibly a part of the clearing process. But I have my phone out, and this is going to be downloaded to YouTube, and they know that. And so because they know that I'm on YouTube now and I'm downloaded, because an ancestor told me to start talking about what happened to me. And when I mean ancestor, I mean someone in my family that passed away in 1985, basically. It's like, you need to start talking about this and telling people about it. And that's what I'm doing. So they disappeared. They completely disappeared. I've seen a couple, but they got out of the way really, really quick, because they don't want to get caught. They don't want to get caught. And so if this is a part of my clearing, it's going to be a part of my clearing, Usually they would just be everywhere. They would be everywhere. But this is going up on YouTube. So anyway, I'm up in Bakersfield. I'm in the luxury apartment. They're slowly, methodically taking my income away, and I have no idea what's going on. I just know that my phone is hot, super hot. Have to turn it on and off. Sometimes I would get an order. A lot of times I would get an order and it would freeze. So I wouldn't be able to, I would get the order and then they would freeze it, and so I wouldn't be able to get the address. So I would have to call Uber in the middle of the night and tell them, look, I don't have the address. Can you give me the address? My phone froze, so I can't find the address anywhere. They give me the address, and it would take a lot more time to get the people their food, which is going to affect your ratings as well. That's going to affect your ratings. So this happened every night that I worked. Almost every night it happened. And that's what I had to deal with. Basically, I had to deal with a lot of that while I was working for Uber. And so I said to myself, this is not working. You know, I have this dog. I had ran out of money. I think the last $1,200, $1,500 I was scammed out of that money from somebody named Khan and his brother. Basically, what they did was, I was looking for another place to stay that was cheaper because I couldn't afford the $2,000 in rent. And so I was calling daily. I was looking on Craigslist. I was looking on the different apartment, the apartment apps and stuff like that. And I had no idea that this man was a perp, but I don't know if he started out as a perp or if he ended up as a perp. But if he did not start out as a perp, they turned him into a perp. So him and his brother basically stole my money. I gave it to him as like a down payment. And I met this guy. Like, I literally met him, had a conversation with him, saw the place where I was going to be living. He had access to it. He had access to that place. So, like, I had no idea. I had no idea. But once he got the money, he just kind of like disappeared. And I was like, hello, where are my keys? You know, I went back to the place where I was going to be living, and they were like, we have no idea who that is. I don't know if they were also involved. But that was the last of my money. And I was like, well, I'm not going to stay in this area. I'm going to go back down to Lancaster, which is about 2.5 hours away. I'm going to go back down there because at least I have a sister, even though we're not speaking. Because I don't know, I think she may be a part of the program. But even though we're not speaking, at least I have family down there. So, like I said, my son was in placement. And so I took off and I came back down here to Lancaster. And I was sleeping in my car. It was the winter time. I was sleeping in my car because by that time they had made me homeless. So I was sleeping in my car, even though I still had my house in Ridgecrest that I was trying to sell, and I refused to go back there. So I just slept in my car with my dog for a few nights. And then I went to go visit my son, and he was with somebody that was really nice, really cool. And he was like, well, why don't you, we used to talk all the time. Like, we became really good friends to the point to where I told him what was going on with my targeting. And he was like, oh my gosh, you know, he said that he had heard of it because he knew somebody in his family that works for the CIA or something like that. And so he had heard of it. But he was like, well, why don't you come and stay down here with us until we can figure out, you know, what's going on. And Connor would love it. And he was a gay black man, so he was very, very attracted to women, but not in a sexual way, but just like having a buddy. So he was like, we can just raise them together. Yeah, we can just, and if you want to move, maybe we can go to another state. So he was like, he had all of these grandiose ideas and stuff. And he really loved Connor, but unfortunately, Connor, in the end, he became too violent for him. He was getting really, really big. And the same thing happened. You know, I couldn't handle him. And the person after me could not handle him, which was a male. And then eventually he had to put him in another home because he couldn't handle him either. So anyway, I'm not talking about that part just yet. So I stayed there, we were just, oh my gosh, we just had so much fun the 4 or 5 days that I was there. But unfortunately, he was renting, and they got to his landlord, and so they were like, is there, I guess they called him and said, we have a neighbor that stated that there's somebody living with you. They're not on the lease. They just started harassing him, and he was already scared. Like, he was already nervous about what was going on. So I was working one night, and I was supposed to be leaving the next day, basically. So when I came and I was knocking on the door, he just wouldn't even let me in. Like, he just wouldn't even let me in. Like, he really cowered it out. Like, he was a really coward. And so he wouldn't even let me get my things. I had some things there, my clothes and stuff like that. He would not let me in. I don't know if they had gotten to them or if he was just scared, but he would not let me in. And so there's one. And so that didn't work out, and it strained our relationship from then on out, because geez, you just could have let me come in and get my clothes and get my food that I had, because I had a room. He gave me a room, and he just completely cut me off. But by that time, I was used to it. Like, I was like, something going on, people are changing. I was getting used to the weirdness of it all, getting very used to it. So interesting, only one tail light. So anyway, that didn't work out. And when that didn't work out, one of the really important pieces of information that he had gave me was, why didn't you go to Valley Oasis? And I'm like, huh? We were having a conversation before I was literally kicked out. And he was like, well, why didn't you go to Valley Oasis when you were out in your car? And I was like, I don't even know what that is. What are you talking about? And so Valley Oasis is a nonprofit that helps people get apartments. Homeless people that are homeless, women that have children, or just women. They pay for your rent. And so he was like, you need to go there ASAP. So when he put me out, that's where I went. I looked it up and I was like, oh, okay, that's Valley Oasis. And I learned the process of it all, because it's a process. And so I was like, okay, so I have to stay in a shelter for 3 months, and then they will work with me. So that's what I did. I went to a shelter out here in Lancaster, kind of close to where I live. And it was they will give you 3 meals a day. So, I didn't have to worry about food. I kept to myself. I usually had like a roommate, but I just went to work. Like, I found a job in retail. This lady who was also homeless told me about this job. I was like, what do you do? Because you come in, you go, you come in, you go. Like, what is it? So she helped me get a job in retail, working at night. You can go to different states and work. It's called retail merchandising. You can go to different states. You can travel. But they pay a decent amount. And so that's how she pulled herself out of homelessness too. So anyway, I got a job in retail merchandising, because they're still having issues with Uber Eats and them messing with my phone. So I did that for probably 4 months. It was backbreaking. Especially for someone who's not a youngin' anymore. I did not like it. I was used to having, like writing reports for regional center, being a behavior consultant, going to like stacking cans and things like that. I mean, it was a good learning experience, and I'm extremely grateful for it. But it was not my thing, y'all. It was not my thing. I mean, it was like literally backbreaking. And then eventually the people that worked at the homeless shelter, there was a couple of them that started, like, the men started harassing me, giving me a hard time. Well, if you come in at this time, you can't get back, you can't come in. Then I would have to go to my caseworker during the day and be like, okay, well, this person is telling me I can't come in at this time of night, and my job was at night, so I would do the retail at night. That's what they do. They go into grocery stores at night and they do the retail merchandising and stuff at night. So that kind of, they would just, it would be just like all kinds of stuff that they would be harassing me about, these two particular perps. My caseworker was not in on it. The other lady, the intake lady, was not in on it. But something strange was happening. They were trying, the government was trying to move them to another facility. And I remember that happened to me in Bakersfield too, when I was doing Meals on Wheels. The accountant all of a sudden got a promotion. All of a sudden, and she wasn't there anymore. So what they will do is they will move their people in. The people that are there, they move out. They figure out some kind of way to get them out, to get their people in. So what was going to happen is they move the new accountant in, and that accountant can start messing up my paycheck, things like that. So, but I didn't stay there long because I came back to Lancaster. So anyway, they were trying to move these two ladies out because they knew that they couldn't turn them, because they had genuine hearts, to be really, really kind, and they were in the field, genuinely in the field. So, and they eventually moved them out. But what happened was, I was working, I stayed to myself. They would fill the homeless shelters. The men, they were on one side, the women were on the other side. They filled them with perps, and I could care less. Like, I did not give it in. Fill the whole place with perps. Like, that didn't scare me. Like, I don't want to start cursing on you, but yeah, I didn't care. Like, where I'm at now is they have perps and stuff like that. I don't care. But anyway, I just kept my head down, and I worked. I just worked and worked and worked, and they saw me out. They saw me leaving and coming. I socialized a little bit. Like, I did make friends, and that place, it was like, man, I was just so social there. I made friends and stuff like that, that I still follow on Facebook and stuff. Really kind people that I kind of suspect some of them were targeted and didn't know that they were targeted, which was very, very, very disheartening, very sad. Yeah, but I didn't know that they were targeted. I mean, they didn't know they were targeted, but I knew they were targeted. And they were still my friends, and there's about 4 or 5 people that I got really close to there. It was not a bad place to stay. I got on my feet, me and my doggy. They allowed me to keep my dog. I got on my feet, and I worked. I did the retail merchandising. They saw that I was working, and so they pulled me in the office, one of the case managers, and she was like, well, we found you a room, we found you a place. And I was like, really? And she was like, yes. And it's the other girl that was there, she actually didn't want to leave because she felt so safe there. It's a room, and we would like to take you to go see it. And it's $1,000 a month, but you don't have to pay anything for a year. We will assist you for a year. Just continue to work and continue to save your money. So if you're in California, and if you go to most of the shelters out here, they will help you with housing and things like that. And so I saw the room. The room was really small, but it's behind a solid tall gate, because the house there is a daycare in the front. The house is really big. It's a daycare in the front, and then upstairs you have roommates, people that rent rooms. But I'm at the bottom in what you call a ADU, which is short for an addition. Basically, it's short for an additional unit. And so basically that's where I'm at right now. And this is good old Acton. If you want to know anything about Acton, this is where I work. If you want to know anything about Acton, look it up. Acton, California. Ciao. But anyway, I have to stop here because I am at work. And we got a new intake. So we're going to stop right here. This is part 2. From Lancaster to California City to Ridgecrest, California to Bakersfield and back to Lancaster. Just running. Knowing something is wrong, not understanding what it is, but just knowing what it is. Just understanding that something is wrong. Someone did mention to me in Bakersfield when they were locking me out of my car at the luxury apartments. I would keep my dog. I would put him in like daycares so he wouldn't have to be in that apartment all day because, like I said, there was stuff going on. So I paid for him to stay in daycare. And so it was a really nice couple, very conservative, real nice house, ranch style house, kind of like the ones you see here. And they lived in a different part. I think it was West Bakersfield. And so one day I called the lady and I just confided in her and I was like, look, I can't pick up my dog right now because I can't get into my garage because my garage is being jammed. It's being jammed. And I told her I'm being stalked. I don't know what's going on. I explained to her what was going on. And she was like, Teresa, it sounds like you're being gang stalked. And I was like, gang stalk? What the heck is that? Like gang? Like a gang is stalked? Well, and then I thought to myself, well, it's some kind of a gang. It's just not the gangs that I know about. And so I looked it up. She was like, go look it up. It happened to a UCLA professor. She was a female. She applied for a job with what was it? It was the aircraft, Boeing, something like that. She didn't get the job, but all of a sudden weird things started happening. And she knew that something was wrong. And she figured out what was going on, just like I was figuring out what was going on. And she sued the heck out. She started, researching and getting her whatever she needed to go to court. Because she had a lot of stuff going on with her, and she kept receipts, and film and all of that good stuff. So, she took them to court. She took the government to court, and she won because they put her on the list. Just because she applied for a job, they put her on the list. So they put people on the list for different reasons, and it was just crazy. But anyway, I looked her up, and when I looked her up, I ran across the website Targeted Justice, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's other people going through this crap just like me. And oh my gosh, Targeted. And so I contacted someone on Targeted Justice, and that's when I knew that, okay, there's thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of other people going through this just like me. And I spoke with a lady by the name of Sandy, and she walked me through everything. And I will start to get into my volunteer work with Targeted Justice and talking to and linking up with other people that are targeted in my community. I'll talk about that in part 3. So you guys have a wonderful night or day whenever you see this. Have a wonderful night or day, and I will talk to you soon.